Hey Altcoin Buzz Army, this is Adam with Altcoin Buzz. Today we're going to be doing a review and more or less a compare and contrast between Neo and Wanchain. If you're not familiar with those, that's okay. I chose these two because I'm adopting the philosophy that knowledge is power, and I'm assuming that there are plenty of you that even though you may know about them, you don't really know in full detail what their vision is and how they may differ, right? Because I have these questions of are they competitors? Can they coexist? What are they doing for the space? So we're going to be talking about the tech behind it, and we're going to be diving deep, right? Because as much research I've done trying to compare these two, I know that there are probably plenty of people that really don't know what's going on. So hopefully this helps shed some light. This is not professional financial advice. It's not even going to be professional, or it's not going to be financial advice at all. We're going to be talking more about the tech, because even if you're just interested in the money, you definitely want to make sure that these projects, they know what they're doing and know where they're headed. All right, so you want to make smart investments. And if you're interested in the technology, it's going to be a fun review. And if you're interested in the passive income, which I'm all about, right? Both of these are going to be offering that as well. So let's go over it. So origin, real quick. Neo used to be Ant Shares. Ant Shares was founded in February 2014, which means it was founded a year and a half before Ethereum was founded. Let that sink in. Neo is an OG in the crypto space. Pretty cool. Ant Shares converted to Neo in August 2017 is when it got complete. It basically happened all last summer. They like the Matrix more than they like ant colonies, I guess. They are an independent blockchain. Emphasize that because they're not built on Ethereum. They're not based on anything else. They are their own entity. For Wanchain, I put the Ethereum founding date on here because they have adopted the Ethereum code and they have added ring signatures like we see with Monero. So they are a combination of a development platform and a privacy coin. So they have that cool feature, which actually sets them apart. Right? It's bigger than cool. It is a big principle on why I think they will do really well. Their ICO began last July and it ended in October, and they've been on the map ever since. Their vision. So the vision, this is where things, you can start to see how they are a bit different. All right, because Neo, decentralized open network for smart economy. Decentralized meaning it's spread throughout the network. It's secure, nobody runs it. Open network, they want everyone and their mother to come create an app for them. And the smart economy. Now the smart economy, it consists of three things: digital assets, digital identity, and smart contracts. And what this means, I think about it as I'm going to buy a car from a dealer. If I go to a dealership, the digital asset is the car. The digital identity is me and the dealer, right? We want to know what we're buying, or what I'm buying. I want to know what I'm buying. And then obviously I need to have my identity. I want to know who I'm buying from. And then you have the smart contracts, what you agree on if you're financing a car, the warranties, just going as is, whatever that may be. This is pretty much what the smart economy consists of. You're just putting it in a digital nature, and that's what Neo is trying to accomplish. Whereas WAN has a digital economy via private cross-chain smart contracts. So they are trying to do something similar, right? They call it a digital economy instead of a smart economy. Basically means the same thing, but they do have their privacy that we already talked about, which is a key thing here. We're going to keep going over. Cross-chain, they're technically both cross-chain. Basically means they want to talk to every other cryptocurrency. They do it a different way though. But this part right here, rebuilding finance. So the privacy and the finance aspect is what WAN is all about. Even though they are a development platform, they want to recreate this entire financial structure on this platform. They make that nice and loud and proud on their Twitter and on their website. That is what they want to do. And this is how you can kind of see the separation between these two. And going over, so we'll go over the cross-chain. I know there's a lot of words on here. More or less, NeoX is their protocol. Right, so they do this in two ways. They have an asset exchange agreement and they have a distributed transaction protocol. The asset exchange agreement, what they have, or they basically just have contracts, right? So they call them neo contracts, kind of similar to smart contracts, more or less. We won't go over the little details, but more or less every person every participant, right, gets an account, and you create a contract, and basically anything that has any simple form of smart contract functionality, so basically every cryptocurrency, is able to become a participant and then therefore talk to Neo and therefore talk across different blockchains. And they also have this distributed transaction protocol, which is pretty intense. So more or less, if you create an app or you have a program, or you have some smart contracts, though that code can be spread out between multiple chains. And what that does is it increases decentralization and it increases security. Obviously, two great things. And they succeed and fail as a whole, which means that for them to work, they all have to talk to each other. And if they're not able to do that, they don't process. So pretty cool on what they're doing over here. Now for WAN, they have a distributed ledger. So they're going to record everything. Their ledger is going to record every transaction that happens within Wanchain network and every transaction that happens across the chain. So if WAN is involved in any way, they're having this distributed ledger. And that's going to be key for security and trust. And they have, how they make this work, they have, it's called locked accounts with SMPC, Secure Multi-Party Computation. Now, a good way to think of this, I don't know if this may be showing my age here, right? How this works is everyone has to have a part of the key, and you have to bring that together to make it work, right? So just think about Captain Planet, right? You can't have one person missing. You have to have everyone there that needs to put all the elements together in order to summon Captain Planet. This is the exact same concept, right? You need everyone to come together. If they don't, then it's not going to work. And so with this, they're actually able to convert any digital asset from any blockchain onto Wanchain. So because of this multi-party computation, any digital asset can adopt that and be a participant and therefore be on the Wanchain network. Also, because they are Ethereum based and can read easily all the ERC20 tokens, anything that was built on Ethereum can be converted over to Wanchain without changing a single piece of code. That is huge. So now all these cryptocurrencies that were invested in, or anyone that are being built on Ethereum, no longer is dependent on Ethereum. They can actually transfer over, given that Wanchain, of course, fulfills everything they're trying to do. But that could be huge in the future, especially if Ethereum goes down or has any issues. Now, the consensus. So how do they reach consensus? If you're familiar with Bitcoin, how they have the longest ledger. Whoever has the biggest transaction history, that is truth, right? That is God. That is the one who says, all right, this is what we got going on, and everyone agrees to that. For NEO, they have DBFT, Delegated Byzantine Fault Tolerance. More or less, it's a form of proof of stake. And they have bookkeepers. These bookkeepers are also known as consensus nodes. If you're Googling stuff, these two are interchangeable. So they just need 66% agreement on the ledger amongst the bookkeepers. I have not been able to find exactly how many bookkeepers they want to have, but regardless, it's going to be a 66%, no matter how many they have. In order to become a bookkeeper, you have to stake 1,000 gas. You have to obtain a digital ID, just for talking about in their smart economy, a digital identity, right? So you have to have, so you can't just be any Joe Schmuckatelli, right? You have to be part of the NEO network, and you got to get voted on. So this is where the key part is, and where it kind of may seem a little political, but how a proof of stake, the argument is that because you have this voting process and any token holders, so any of us that hold NEO can vote, we can vote people on and vote people off to be keepers of these nodes, more or less. And so if they act up in any way, they can be kicked off and never to return. I'm sure they're also financially incentivized very nicely, but that is part of the decentralized concept that NEO has adopted. Now with WAN, they have cross-chain and intra-chain nodes. On their cross-chain, they have vouchers and storemen, and then the intra-chain, they have validators. Right? The validators and the vouchers, more or less, are processing the transactions. Right? This is all just, these are simple terms. Right? I'm dumbing this down, trying to as much as I can. And then the storemen. So if we go back to the cross-chain, we're talking about the multi-party computation, right? Storeman is Captain Planet. Okay, he is responsible. So all the keys come together. All right, he's who you're summoning. He's who's the authority. So as the network's being decided, and then you're having like all the transactions, and you're making sure everything is legit, the storeman is the one that did it. And I started thinking about Cap Planet episodes and lost my thought. I hadn't even seen that in years. Anyway, moving on to incentives and rewards. So if you know me, or if you heard some of my videos, I'm all about, that passive income. I'm all about participating in our cryptocurrencies and then getting rewards from it. I think it's a lot of fun. Both of these have incentive programs. So Neo, if you're familiar with Neo at all, you probably at least know about it. You can stake Neo and you get rewarded in gas. If gas is new to you, if you're completely new to Neo, gas and Neo go hand in hand. Neo is the crypto, right? So that is one cryptocurrency. Gas is another thing that falls underneath Neo. More or less, gas is used to process all of the programming and the code on Neo. So you get rewarded in the gas by staking any type of Neo. Okay, so if you're doing it just for investment sake, both are worth pretty good amount, right? So you're going to be, it is a financial incentive. But also if you're using the Neo network, right, you probably will benefit more from it because you're getting free gas. You're more or less using the network for free. And the nice thing about staking Neo is you don't have to keep your wallet online. And if you saw my first video about passive income when it came to staking, most of the wallets and most of the staking programs, you have to keep them connected to the network to maximize your rewards. Neo is not like that, which is nice because I know the majority of people don't want to keep their wallet online 24/7, or can't even do that without buying another computer, which immediately makes it not worth it unless you're staking thousands and thousands of Neo, of course. And then they have the bookkeeper. So we kind of went over this. You have to stake 1,000 gas, must be voted by the token holders, and you also gain this transaction fee authority, which I learned kind of on accident, but more or less that to run Neo there are no transaction fees. But at any time, transaction fees can be incorporated, and these bookkeepers can agree to do so, and then they would be further incentivized with the transaction fees. I don't know if there's a scenario where that would be needed, or a scenario where they would want to do that, but that does exist. So just as an FYI. WAN, they call theirs the incentive mechanism. So you can be a voucher, validator, storeman, and for all three of these first ones, you have to stake a certain amount of the crypto. So you have to have a certain amount of WAN. How much you have to stake and how much you get rewarded is they have not released yet. So these are things to look for in the future, but you're basically gonna have to have a certain amount in order to do so. The storemen have to stay online 24/7. So down here you see the master nodes, and I'm all about the master nodes. I love those. I'm probably not gonna be able to afford a WAN master node. I'm assuming it's gonna be pretty expensive, but more or less you can have a master node. And that'll be coming here most likely, I believe, in the summer. I don't know if the master node and the storeman are the same thing, right? I just know that this says it must stay online, and that's the same with master node. So I'm assuming it's the same thing. I could be wrong. That is just a guess. The general nodes, so for those of us who do not have enough to become any of the others, we can still stake what WAN we have and still gain rewards from them. Boom. So development. So decentralized applications. So this is where you can see even more about the differences in these and why I think that these two projects will coexist. Is you have the decentralized open network that Neo promotes, right? And they have the Neo SDK. SDK stands for Software Development Kit. If you're not familiar with that, it just basically means the programmer's toolbox, you can say. Now, this is huge, and I love this. And Neo's not the only one doing it, but I love the concept is that all these right here are programming languages. Now, why this should be enticing to you, even if you're not a developer, is that you want your team to be set up for success, right? So even if you're just investing in any type of startup, you want the team to be set up as best that they can. Neo does that by allowing every major programming language to be used on their platform. So with Ethereum, you have to learn Solidity, which is a programming language that was created for Ethereum by people way smarter than I am. But the problem with that is that it creates this barrier to entry. So programmers have to learn Solidity to start doing it, which from what I understand, moving over to Solidity isn't that complicated, but it does take time. Therefore, it creates a barrier to entry. And you also have to figure that, think about the Java developer that's been programming for 5 years, 10 years, 20 years. You're not going to be that confident and have that level of mastery learning a new language. So with Neo, you can take all the developers around the world and they all can start doing it automatically. And I think that's going to be huge, and they set them up for success. they give a whole bunch of different options of what you can do. It's not limited to this list at all, but they just all about basically like, this tells me we want every developer to come in here and use their skills and develop whatever they want. Whereas WAN, they call themselves a complete blockchain development platform, so you can develop apps on them, but they are Ethereum based, which I assume means you can only use Solidity. Now, it didn't state in the white paper. In the white paper, it literally just said, see Ethereum white paper, which bugged me. Now, I even asked in the WAN Discord about if there are programming languages, if anybody knew, and I mostly got crickets. People just assumed just a Solidity, but there doesn't seem to be a clear answer. So I'm just going to go with, you have to learn Solidity or to develop on this platform. But where the split still happens here is that Neo wants you to develop anything and everything, whereas WAN is, again, focused dominantly on privacy and on finances. This is straight out of their white paper. So borrowing and lending, payment and settlement, transaction and exchange, investment and financing. And then about down here talks about the digital currency options, where they want credit cards with multiple multi-currency, asset-backed securities, peer-to-peer lending, crowdfunding. So just based on their vision, based on the way that the white paper is written, they are truly committed to rebuilding the financial structure, and they want to more or less lead the way. And then the privacy is what is the icing on the cake, because you can develop a financial programs and do what you need to on Neo. You can develop a private blockchain on Neo, but the core of WAN has the privacy option. And I think that is where it's going to be huge for their success and what sets them apart from other developmental platforms. And just seeing these two, you can kind of see how, even though they can potentially be competitors, I don't think they are. I think they are going to coexist. I think they're both going to do their thing. And just wrapping it up, right? So again, Neo, smart economy, original gangster in the crypto space. They're all about cross-chain. They're all about proof of stake. They do have a rewards program and an outstanding development plan, and basically want everyone to make a dApp, right? dApp is decentralized application. And WAN, rebuilding finance. They're Ethereum based and privacy, right? They have an awesome cross-chain concept that from what I gather, is going to be the easiest and most efficient way for everyone to talk. So with Neo, it seems that you are able to talk with Neo. With WAN, it seems that WAN's going to get everybody on the same page in a whole nother level. That is just how I interpret it. You can have the rewards program that should be coming out pretty soon, so keep your eye on that. And then their development is highly on the financial side. All right, so that's it for kind of comparing and contrasting the two. Just going on with some of the news. So Blockchain Interoperability Alliance. This is not new news, right? This is back in December, but if you're learning about WAN, this is important. That they have this alliance going, right, with other cryptocurrencies. Now, this is big, and this is what I personally want to see. I want to see these projects come together because I'm in it for the world change. I want to see how much of an impact they can make. And these cryptocurrencies are learning that, they can't do it on their own. Wanchain, as big as they could be, they are partnered with people because this isn't a one team, one project job. This is going to take a lot. And this is just a cool little thing to see them coming together and pushing these cryptocurrencies as a whole. Neo, this is on their Twitter, right? So again, blockchain career fair, right? Because why? Because they're pushing development. They want the developers. There's a lot of different cryptos on here you might recognize with like Icon and Zcash and Elf. So they're all about pushing this career fair and all about the development side. And this is just, coming down here to the roadmap. So something to see from WAN coming up. You have coming out this June is the Wanchain 2.0. And I believe that's when we're going to start seeing like the masternodes and rewards program. We'll wait to see more details on it. They're going to integrate with Ethereum, and then they're going to have the multi-coin wallet, right? The multi-coin wallet's going to be huge. We've kind of seen it a little bit. I think theirs is going to be next level with the way that they're going to be able to trade an atomic swap and do anything you need to with trading cryptocurrency, for Ethereum to Bitcoin to WAN. that you're going to be able to do whatever you need to do as it comes to exchanging with others. Coming later this year is the Wanchain 3.0. So they're going to have the integration with Bitcoin. I'm assuming just pushing the multi-coin wallet's going to keep growing. And then by the end of next year, you have Wanchain 4.0, and they're going to integrate with the private chains. So it'll be interesting to see what goes on with that. The Wanchain Twitter. Some of the cool news here is this WAN Lab. And the WAN Lab is basically for startup blockchains. So they're pushing the blockchain emphasis and trying to help accelerate a lot of the startup companies. And of course, I'm sure they could be building on the Wanchain platform itself. So that's it in a nutshell, guys. Let me know what you think. Let me know if you like the review, right? Always hit that like button. It lets me know if you appreciated kind of the comparison and if you like this format. I hope this helped with your overall knowledge and helps you make better decisions, kind of see, what everything's about. Go ahead and hit subscribe if you haven't, if you want to see more videos like this, and you can hit the bell so you can be notified immediately. And appreciate you taking the time to listen. Thanks all. Take care.